So now we're going to continue with the electronic configuration of atoms. And how does one come up with an electronic configuration for any atom? The way that works is you need to know the number of electrons. And where do you get the number of electrons? From the number of protons for an atom. So for example, if you talk about hydrogen atom, it has one proton, therefore one electron. So in the first shell, it only has one electron. But if you have helium, which is actually in the data booklet, in the periodic table, it has two protons, so therefore it has two electrons, meaning both the electrons occupy the lowest shell first. And lithium has three electrons because it has three protons. So when you have to have three electrons in lithium, two of the three electrons are found in the lowest shell first, and then the third electron, because the lower shell can only take two, the third shell contains one more. Now if you got barium has four protons. So if something has four protons, it'll have four electrons, which means two in the lowest shell, the first shell, and two in the second shell. The way I'm writing is that you're writing the first shell electrons first and the second shell electrons next. An element after beryllium is boron, has five protons. What that means is it has five electrons, two in the first shell, and the remaining three go in this next shell. Carbon, an example we saw earlier, has six protons, which means its atom has six electrons, which means that two of the six occupy the lowest shell first, two, and the remainder four go in the next shell. So here are actually the first 8 elements, their atomic number, which is the number of protons, which is in fact the number of electrons. And you'll notice how the shells fill up. The first shell fills up 1 and then 2 and doesn't increase by 2. The second shell then ends up filling all the electrons. So with carbon we had done was 2, 4. The next guy's electron, extra electron will come in the second shell. Oxygen's right here. Then after oxygen, the atomic number 9 would have to have 2 in the first shell and 7 in the second shell. And neon would be 2 and 10. 2 and 8, sorry, because that's 10 electrons, 2 and 8. Now here's the remainder 12 elements left in the first 20. 2 we just saw right now, I was just mentioning them, that if you have atomic number 9, that means 9 electrons, 2 in the first shell and 7 in the second shell. When you have 10 electrons, 2 in the first, 8 in the second. When you have 11 electrons, 2 in the first, 8 in the second, and then 1 more. Then 12, 2, 8, 2. Because the first shell can only have a maximum of 2. The second shell can only have a maximum of 8. So once you fill that up, every extra electron has to go on the third shell. So from sodium to argon, if you notice, they have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 electrons. So once the first shell fills 2, the second shell fills 8. Then the third shell fills up till 8. But the third shell, when it hits argon, we know it can take 18 according to the rule that we have. But what we have discovered from properties and other data is that the next guy who has got 19 electrons, that is supposed to be 2, 8 and 9. It isn't 2, 8 and 9. It stays 8 in the third shell, and the 19th electron starts ending up filling in the fourth shell. And this is not following our prediction of 2n squared, but this is the observable data. So this data is true, and we'll be able to explain this why using A-level chemistry when we study this later. So the 2n squared rule works till the first 18 elements for most part. Then after the first 18, the next 2 elements, potassium 2, 8, 8, 1, and calcium, which has 20 electrons because of 20 proton number. That means 20 means 2 in the first shell, 8 in the second shell, that's 10, 8 in the third shell, that's 18, and then the last 2. And the reason why we know this is because we've proven this by multiple ways. One of them, which is in the next lesson, is about how the periodic table is basically arranged in terms of electronic configuration. All those elements whose outermost shell, which is the shell with the last electron, has the same number of electrons, are in the same vertical group of the periodic table. And if you already know what the periodic table is, then you know that potassium is in group 1 and so is sodium in group 1. But so far, what you need to know is that the first shell fills up 2, the second shell fills up maximum 8, the third shell can take up 18, but yours only takes up, for you guys, just learn it only takes up 8. And then 2 more electrons go in the next shell. So let's fill some out right now. Let's start filling them out again, like randomly. So when I was saying was hydrogen is 1 1, which means 1 proton, which means 1 electron, which means let's look at its electronic configuration. This is how the 1 electron in hydrogen will be found. It will be found in the innermost shell, and this cross represents 1 electron of hydrogen. We can call this the electron arrangement of the hydrogen, and it's just written as 1. This is the electronic structure, and this is the actual layout of hydrogen. Then let's take a look at another one. That's one, and again I'm repeating, I know, but we want to make sure we all know how to do this. So when I look at the element called boron, whose symbol is B, it has 5 atomic number, which means it has 5 protons and 5 electrons. Now how does this fill out the electrons? This is how you'd find the electronic structure of boron. It has 5 electrons. 2 go in the inner shell, the first shell. The crosses here represent the 2 electrons. And because it has 5, because the 2 have gone in the first shell, the remainder 3 go in the second shell. So you put 3 in this circle around it. You could put them like this, you can put them right there. It doesn't really matter too much. But the idea is that you put 2 crosses in the first inner circle, which represents the first shell, and the outer circle represents the second shell, and you put in 2 electrons there, 3 electrons there. Then let's say we want to talk about, let's say, oxygen. Now oxygen as an element is, the symbol is O, 8 protons atomic number, and so it has 8 protons, which means it has 8 electrons. So if I draw the atom out to show the configuration of the electrons, this is what it look like. It is really the O atom. There are 2 shells. The inner shell has 2 of the 8, and the outer shell, the second shell. So this for the inner shell is called shell number 1. The second shell is shell number 2. There are 2 electrons on the inner shell, and the remainder 6 in the outer shell. Another example, aluminum. Let's take aluminum for Now aluminum is Al, and the spelling is aluminium. And British call it aluminiums, and the Americans call it aluminum. And it's 13 proton number, meaning 13 electrons. So here would be the electron structure for aluminum. Since it has 13 electrons, 2 go in the inner shell, then the second shell contains 8, that still makes it 10. You got 3 left. Then the third shell takes in 3 more, sorry. So the inner shell has, the first shell has 2 electrons, the second shell has 8, and the last one has 3, 2, 8, 3, totals up to 13 electrons. Then we move on to argon. Now argon or argon is what we call a noble gas. It has a stable configuration. When we look at periodic table next, we'll understand what I mean by that. It has 18 protons because the atomic number is 18, and you'll know this from the periodic table. And it would have 18 electrons, and this would be argon's 18 electrons spread out. 2 in the first shell, that's 2. 8 in the second shell makes it 10, and the remainder 8 go in the last shell. So here, by the way, uniquely, all 3 shells are, you could say, are full in a way. The first shell has 2, the second shell has 8, and the third shell also has 8. And yeah, so that's how you fill this one out. And let's take the last guy as calcium. What do you say? Calcium is the 20th element in a periodic table, and we have to know the first 20. I mean, the more you see them, the more you learn about them, but it'll be great if you learn them by name, learn their atomic numbers, or at least you can see them from the periodic table, but it helps. So calcium is the 20th element, and that means it has 20 protons and 20 electrons. And when it has 20 electrons, what the idea is that it fills, if I'm writing the shells, so the first shell has 2 electrons. So the second shell can have 8 more, that's 10 electrons. The third shell can take more than 8, but we only put an 8 in the third shell for calcium. So 2, 8, 8, and that makes it 18, and the remainder 2 go in the outermost shell. And this is quite a large configuration to draw, because you got to draw 4 shells. The inner shell contains 2, then the second shell contains 8, then the third shell contains 8 more, and the last shell contains 2. So that's what we have, by the way. And you should be able to draw these configurations out, and yeah, also be able to identify, just looking at the electron structure, how many electrons does it have, just by counting the crosses. Here, if you count all the crosses which represent electrons, you'll count them 20. So you know, if it's 20 electrons, it must be 20 protons, and then using the periodic table you can find the element's name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a question to solve at the next slide, and what I would like you to do is pause at that slide and solve that question before coming to class. Alright, so this is that question right here. Okay, you could just solve it, keep it for yourselves, and I'll see this in the next class with you. Alright, so yeah, pause this video, solve this, and there's nothing more left in this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.